Welcome to another edition of Community Conversations. I'm Laura Wagoner, your host. In my community affairs role at Villanova University, I've met many exceptional people doing extraordinary work, from university professors and leaders of service organizations to law enforcement officials and township commissioners. The goal of this program is to provide you, the viewers, a monthly glimpse of the people making headlines at Villanova and across the township. Today, I'll introduce you to one of those people that plays an instrumental role in helping make Villanova University the special place that it is. Marilou Smith is a senior project manager in the Facilities Management Office at Villanova University. She's a graduate of Villanova University in 1984 with a Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering, is LEED certified, and has over 35 years of experience in design, construction, and project management. Marilou has managed a wide range of projects for the university, including the construction of the new parking lot on Lancaster Avenue, the addition to the SAC garage on main campus, the pedestrian bridge crossing Lancaster Avenue, the new parking garage on Ithan Avenue, the Commons, Driscoll Hall, the Structural Engineering Teaching and Research Laboratory, and 200,000 square foot renovation to the Mendel Hall Science Building. Currently, she is the senior project manager on completing the project that is transforming the university main parking lots along Lancaster Avenue into a new living and learning environment. The Commons that is highlighted by residential housing for 1,335 students and a performing arts center. Marilou, that was a mouthful. You have a very extensive resume. So thank you for being here today.
My pleasure.
Yes, and so we started your intro talking about all your background at Villanova. Do you want to give us a little bit of a more extensive background that you have with the university?
You cover quite a bit. I'm a project manager who just works in the facilities group and manages construction projects on campus. So, not all of them are buildings. Some of them are, minor classroom renovations, but stuff that we need to facilitate for our students.
So not everything is as big as the Commons and the Performing Arts Center.
No.
Well, good. Well, let's get right into it and talk about all the new construction on campus. How did the Commons come about as a project?
So when Father Peter took office in 2006, the first project that he asked us to pursue was a master plan for the campus. There had not been a master plan in ever, I think. And so he asked us to start that, and we did that. And one of the needs that came out of a master plan for the campus was that we needed additional housing. At that time, we were only housing 70% of our students, and in order to keep them involved in Villanova, we felt that it was necessary to keep them on campus. It seemed like just as they got to their senior year, we were saying, okay, bye-bye. And that's really when we want to keep them near and dear, because now, your hardest year is probably your junior year, your senior year, you're starting to enjoy everything that's happening, and you're just about to leave. So we really wanted to keep them on campus. And so that is how this project, came to life. That was just how it came to life. Then we had to take it from that thought to what it is today.
Sure.
And that started in 2010. So it's been 9 years in the making to open these dormitories.
And they are opening this fall.
They are opening this fall, yes.
So can you walk us through 2008 to today, or 2010 to today, where you came from to where we are now?
I can. So one of the ideas that Venturi Scott Brown, who was the architect who led the master plan for Villanova, came up with was to use the one free space we had on campus, which was the main parking lot, which the main parking lot, I think there was about 1,107 spaces that were in that, and then there was a parking lot across the street, Pike lot. And they were very old and not very attractive at all. So it was a big piece of property that we could build something on. Problem was zoning did not work for us. So we actually had to write a zoning amendment so that we could build these dorms on these two parking lots. So we transformed a completely impervious piece of property and turned it into what you're seeing as you drive by Lancaster Avenue today.
Which is stunning compared to the parking lot, which I believe I learned how to drive in that parking lot.
Yes, a lot of us used that parking lot. It was actually the parking lot from 1950 on. Before that, it was just a bunch of green grass.
And you said we, is that the university working closely with the township and the neighbors?
Absolutely. It was a team effort. It was the university. We had the architects and engineers, as well as the construction management firm working with us on going through the land development process and the zoning ordinance change process.
So how many different partners when it comes to all that did you work with? Double digits or?
Easily.
Wow.
Yeah, easily.
It's a very extensive project.
Yeah, so.
Do you have a number of how many people are working on the project itself?
Right now, it's dwindling down, but at its peak, we probably had 350 contractors on site. We probably have 50 people working to bring that to construction.
Mm-hmm.
So with the design team, we have the architectural team is Voith McTavish, who actually did most of the Robert A. M. Sturm did the exterior and the renderings of these buildings and all the exterior design of it. Voith McTavish, who they partnered with as a Philadelphia firm, and they did all the interior and the really solving every problem that came out of construction to get us to the finish line. So it was a great team effort on both our parts. We had Bala engineers as our mechanical, electrical, and plumbing and fire protection people. Nave Newell was our civil engineers. And there's so many consultants. I don't want to. I feel like
You're giving an Oscar
I feel like
speech
I'm winning
right now.
Oscars, and I don't want to miss anyone, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to. Thank you all. You've been a huge help. You got us. You got us there. So,
That's impressive.
hoo-ha, right.
So you talked a little bit about the exterior, and that I think when I go out in the community is the number one compliment given to the project is how stunning the stonework is. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I can. That was definitely giving birth to a child. And so, the concept was from the day that this design team was hired was they wanted to really kind of keep us in the collegiate Gothic that most of our campus was. They tried to bring in all the elements from Tolentine, from Core Hall, and also from Austin, and trying to keep it in that tempo, which I think they did a fabulous job in doing that. We went through a process of doing mock-ups for stone that was pretty endless. I mean, I think we probably had 30 or 40 different mock-ups for different color variations and types of stones that we wanted in these buildings. And I think we kind of nailed the color
And
variation.
were you the person that said that color? That's it?
I was definitely part of that. And whenever I did not get my way, I just brought Father Peter in, who usually sided with me as well.
It's a nice tool to have in your back pocket.
He's the boss.
So let's talk about the buildings themselves. What are the styles of the rooms? Who's going to be living there and how many students?
So the building is made up of apartments, suites, and singles. And the apartments they're broken down into 4 singles, 3 singles, 2 doubles, but typically there is 4 students in each apartment. In a number of incidents, there'll be 3 or 2, just because of the way it laid out in the building.
Mm-hmm.
There are suites, which are a smaller version of the apartment, and in a suite, you have a kitchenette, a bathroom, a vanity, and 2 doubles. So it's more of an efficiency, which is pretty popular right now. And then we have singles, and the singles are for the students that are really not interested in living with other people,
Mm-hmm.
living with a roommate.
Sure.
And we also have other students that have different needs that need to be in a single. And they share a common bathroom on that floor that is shared amongst, so it's a common bathroom that's shared amongst maybe 8 single rooms.
Okay. And then within those rooms with the doubles and the 4 people, you have a common area, a kitchenette. Is there anything else?
There's 2 bathrooms and 2 vanities. So really 2 students share a bathroom.
That's not too bad.
No, it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
I look at where my kids live in apartments in New York and in Philadelphia, and these are pretty nice.
And did I hear you say on a tour recently that no room is exactly the same throughout all the buildings?
There are probably rooms that are the same just out of where they might land. However, most of the rooms are different because of where they land in the buildings. If you look at it, the buildings are on all different types of angles. None of them are on a 90-degree angle. So they tried to follow the curve of Lancaster Avenue, which I think they were very successful in doing. And with that comes you're going to have, you're trying to make each of these rooms a certain dimension.
Mm-hmm.
So when you fit that in and you run into a corner, you're going to have different items. Like you might have a wall that runs into the middle of a window.
Sure.
So instead of doing that, you kind of have to veer off somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of nooks and crannies, and it's very interesting.
And so we have students coming to live in August, and those will be mostly upperclassmen?
They are all upperclassmen.
And it's how many beds?
There's 1,135 beds.
So you had said we used to be able to house 70%. Now what percentage of our student body will we house?
We are now at 85% of housing our student body.
That's great.
Yeah, and so the idea was to get them back onto campus so that we could keep them for one more year, and to make it more convenient, because there's a lot of parents and students that want to be connected to Villanova and don't want to rent off campus.
Yeah, it cuts down the amount of cars on campus. You can walk right across the street. So
yes.
It's another added benefit. Are there any other components of the commons? The first floor, I believe, has some not only living space.
So the commons is made up of two complexes. Each complex has 3 buildings in it, and in each building there is a community classroom, which is a room that will be used by the residents of the buildings, and there is a lounge in each one along with study areas. So each floor has a study area that is private from their apartment, so they can go off to a different area to kind of close the door and be alone.
Quiet space.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
And we're actually calling them quiet study space.
Oh, lovely.
Hopefully they will be.
Yes. And we have some gyms and a mail room as well.
And on the front of the commons, there are 4 spaces that we have our amenities for the students. There's 2 fitness centers, there's a mail room, and a tech zone. And at the corner, we're going to have a restaurant and a coffee or cafe.
Very nice.
Yes.
So we have some beautiful architectural details of the commons. Can you talk a little bit about that? Maybe one of your favorite aspects of the design?
So that question's been asked to me a number of times, and I cannot pinpoint what is my favorite because there's so many interesting details in the commons.
Even just the doors and the doorways are stunning.
Typically, you build a building and you do a lot of the same stuff, but really in this set of buildings, nothing is really the same. You will look at the commons. You'll have we have 2 small courtyards that face the south side, which are delightful, and then 2 larger courtyards that face Lancaster Avenue, larger, that you can play sports or anything like that if you wanted to out there. Just a bigger setting. Each building, whether it's faux tile that's there, or faux slate rather that's there, or it's a metal panel that does a relief in front of the dormers, along with stone and an eclectic mix of brick. It's just everything, a lot of detail went into it, and nothing is the same. There's a set of arches that you can literally start from the west side, closest to the bridge, and look through these arches, and it staggers all the way down so that you can see the last arch. So it's
beautiful.
Pretty cool. I mean, they really, brought it all together as one big community.
And in addition to that beautiful architecture, we've done some amazing stormwater management with the project. Can you talk a little bit about that?
We did. We have 3 bioswales or rain gardens on Lancaster Avenue. They capture water from Lancaster Avenue. They filter the water through the rain garden, and it infiltrates there. We have 2 large cisterns. We actually have 3 total, but 2 that are used primarily to capture rainwater and to reuse it for our air conditioning system. So we have cooling towers, and typically your cooling towers, when the water evaporates, gets filled back up with potable water. And what we have done instead is we're using the water captured from the rain and storms and pumping it back up there. Now, if we have a drought of some reason, then we will have to use regular water.
Sure. Wow, that's incredibly impressive. Are other universities doing that as well, or is that something that Villanova is leading the charge on?
I think we're leading on the charge, but I haven't done my research to see if we're the only ones who've done it.
And is
It
that
certainly is our first one on campus.
sure? Is
So,
that starting now already, like with last week's very large rainstorm?
uh, I don't know that we'll be measuring it shortly, but
Mhm.
right now we're still trying to get all the mechanical systems up and running and stay up and running.
Okay.
So I'm hoping we're using potable water right now.
Sure.
Right.
So
And then we have infiltration trenches as well. So we're capturing over 2 inches of rainfall, which um, the township requires an inch. And this ordinance that we crafted
mhm.
required us to be over an inch.
Okay.
And so in true Villanova style,
We went above and
we did.
beyond.
We did. We said, we got this.
Yeah.
And we did. And we had a lot of help with, not only our civil engineer, but with our own professors on campus, Bridget Wadzuk and Rob Traver, who are experts in stormwater management. So it was a real team effort.
That's great. And you can see those rain gardens as you walk down the sidewalk, right?
And they're beautiful,
They're
right?
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
That's great. Well, we also have another exciting thing in the new Commons area, the restaurant. Do you want to talk a little bit about the refectory and how that came to be?
yes. So we decided to partner with a third party, which is the Zavino Hospitality Group. And the refectory is a restaurant that will have about, I think there's 158 seats with the future potential of 21. And next to that is Parliament Coffee, which will also be managed by the Zavino Hospitality Group. And that has 42 seats and will be a grab-and-go coffee bar.
And will that be open to the community?
It will be open to the community and all of Villanova University. So I think it will be heavily used and a welcome addition to Villanova.
Sure. I just envisioning going to a basketball game, seeing a show, having dinner before, have a drink after. That sounds lovely.
Yeah, it will be lovely.
And is that a local group, the Zavino group?
They are. So they have a restaurant in Bryn Mawr, Tradici's.
Oh, lovely. I'm having dinner there this evening.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It's delicious. And they also have a restaurant downtown. I think it's called Zavino's.
Okay.
So Greg Dodge is the owner, operator of that. Their place is terrific, so we're hoping ours will be just as terrific.
Great. And when will that open?
That will open probably more in the middle of September, early October.
Okay. And so some other questions I get when I'm out in the community is what is being built next to our parking garage? So you want to talk a little bit about the Performing Arts Center?
Sure. So it's the Performing Arts Center, and it has inside the Performing Arts Center is a courtyard theater, a 200-seat courtyard theater, a proscenium theater with 400 seats, and a performance lab, black box theater, which is approximately 100 seats. There's a choral room, dance studio, a rehearsal room in there. These are all the things that we've needed forever for a performing arts center. Someone asked me this question recently, why do we need this on campus? And I try to say, like, we started out as a liberal arts college without a venue to do a lot of the
arts.
The arts, right, the performing arts. And we've done a phenomenal job in a building that is not really a performing arts center.
So what do we currently have on campus?
So currently we have a 200-seat theater in Vasey Hall, which is a very old building, but we have done a really good job with our theater department and putting on shows there. I believe we put 6 shows on a year, and we'll continue to do that in the new Performing Arts Center.
Okay.
So it's a really cool place, and I think it's a place that will be heavily used by our community, like the Villanova University, theater groups, not only liberal arts college. It'll be used by students just who
Will
are
there
part
be
of theater
classroom
groups.
space in there as
There
well?
are 2 classrooms in there.
Okay.
Yes,
And all of our performances at Villanova are open to the community.
they are. Yes.
Well, that sounds fantastic.
Yeah, we're excited.
So you have a lot on your plate with the Commons and with the Performing Arts Center. Can you talk a little bit about, the magnitude of these projects and sort of what your everyday looks like?
So I guess my everyday looks like me just planning and putting out fires. That's probably not a good thing to say, but at this point, that's where I am. However, I guess my job is to we get an idea, and then it's to kind of implement that idea and to bring it full circle. Hire the design team, complete the design, issue it for bid, purchase it, and then construct it. There's a lot of steps. I'm sure it would take me a long time to.
And we only have 25 minutes
exactly. And I'm probably late for something I have to do already. So there's a lot that goes into building these buildings. A lot of decisions have to be made every single day, and I don't try to make all these decisions myself because it's really for a group. So, for example, the Commons is for the residents' life on our campus. They should be part of every decision that we make, as well as the university as a whole. So, there's a lot of coordinating and collaborating with people to get to the finish line. It's not just, that's the fix. There's more to the fix. And then you have the Performing Arts Center, who, it's a very, very specific type of building, and you want to get it right the first time. So you want to include all the people who are in the theater department, who know how theaters worked.
Sure.
So it's a lot of bringing all the information to the contractors and to the designers to make sure it gets implemented properly in the final product.
So as a Villanova alum, the mother of Villanova alums, did you ever think you would be working on something like this where you're changing the landscape of, the university you've called home forever?
Never. Honestly, when this came up as a job, I literally walked into my boss's office and said, this is my job. I want this. And luckily he said, okay.
Easy.
Easy peasy. Because I do have such roots to Villanova.
And you're a neighbor, right?
I'm a neighbor, but at the time I wasn't actually a neighbor. So, I grew up in this area. I have nine siblings. Half of them went to Villanova. The other half went to St. Joe's.
Ooh.
Yeah, well.
Great Thanksgiving dinner conversation.
Seemed to be the right thing then. And truly, my dad went here, my grandfather went here, I have brothers that went here. So it's a whole family history. And every one of my family that came out of here literally loves Villanova. They bleed blue. So it felt really good to be part of this, huge change on the campus.
Well, congratulations. Thank you so much for being here today. I would like to thank Marilou Smith for participating in today's show. We look forward to next month's show as we introduce you to other individuals making news and positively impacting the communities around us. For more information on some of the great things happening at Villanova and opportunities to be involved, please visit www.villanova.edu/neighbors.